Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of my The Last of Us Factions Survival Guide. In this video we will be covering the core gameplay mechanics of Factions multiplayer, and how they differ from the campaign. The Last of Us plays mostly the same in multiplayer as it does in the single player campaign, but there are a number of minor differences that players should be aware of. The first of the mechanics we'll be talking about is the health system. Each character has 100 health points, represented by 5 bars of health on the heads-up display. Health does not regenerate, it can only be regained by using one of several methods to heal. First off is using health kits that can be crafted, gifted, or found in predetermined locations around the map. Second is being healed by a teammate that has first aid training level 2 or higher. Using melee attacks on enemies with the brawler skill equipped will regenerate 10 health points with every hit, and scoring headshots when equipped with level 2 or higher of the sharpshooter skill will also regenerate health. When a player is using a health kit to heal, they are left vulnerable to attack. However, the player can still move around. The time it takes to heal is not dependent on how much damage the player has taken. This means it will take the same amount of time to recover 4 bars of health as it would to recover 1. The only way to speed up the healing process is to equip the first aid training skill, which will increase the speed of recovery by 75%. A massively important element of The Last of Us, and key to survival in both multiplayer and campaign, is crafting. It works identically in both game modes. Players will be able to craft unique items and weapons using items found in the red supply boxes scattered around the map. Crafting takes place in real time, so players will be left vulnerable while performing this action. Unlike healing, the player cannot move while crafting, and the player's character will call out to teammates when they begin crafting and when they are done. If there are enemies nearby, they may be able to hear these callouts, exposing your location. There are 6 items that can be crafted. A melee upgrade, which requires blades, binding, a rag, as well as the melee weapon itself. A shiv, simply requiring a blade and binding. Health kits are scattered around the map and constantly respawn, but they can be crafted using rags and alcohol as well. Because they are relatively easily found, it is not recommended to craft these items unless absolutely necessary. Molotov cocktails can be crafted using binding, alcohol, and rags. The versatile nail bomb requires explosive, sugar, and blades. Finally, a smoke bomb can be crafted with explosive and sugar. Normally, it would take roughly 3 seconds to craft an item, but the crafter skill will speed up crafting time by 75%. This makes crafting almost instantaneous. Higher levels of the crafter skill also provide a gift box after crafting a certain number of items, allowing the player to gift a random item to a teammate. Another mechanic carried over from the campaign into Factions is Listen Mode, but it is greatly limited when compared to its single-player counterpart. Listen Mode is limited to only a few seconds in multiplayer. The duration can be increased by using the Sharp Ears skill, which also reduces the amount of time to recover the Listen Mode meter. Sharp Ears level 2 will allow players to continue moving at normal crouch walking speeds while using Listen Mode. Listen Mode could also be countered by using level 2 or higher of the Covert Training skill. If a player has that skill equipped and is crouch walking, they will not appear if an enemy uses Listen Mode. Listen Mode is an effective way for spotting nearby enemies that are in cover or on the other side of a wall, but it cannot be entirely relied upon. Players only appear while they are moving, and as stated, Covert Training can mask a player's location while crouch walking. Next is something unique to Factions, and that is the downed state. When a player's health is dropped to 0, their character is incapacitated and can crawl around with a limited bleed out timer. They are unable to perform any other actions in this state. The length of the bleed out timer varies depending on which game type you are playing. If another player reaches a downed teammate in time, they can revive him, granting the teammate 40 health points. If left unattended, the player will eventually bleed out and die. There are 2 ways to increase the speed of reviving. First being the Reviver skill. This reduces the amount of time to revive fallen teammates, and higher levels of the skill will grant additional health upon revival. Having multiple teammates reviving the same character will also increase the revival speed. Players can also execute downed enemies by dealing enough damage, or by performing a special execution. These animated executions are performed by approaching a downed foe and pressing the triangle button, and give the executor an extra 75 points. These animations are unique, changing depending on the weapon the player is holding at the time. There are a few catches to these executions, however. Players cannot perform a special execution immediately after downing an enemy. They must first wait a few seconds. Special executions can also be performed regardless of who downed the enemy. So if a teammate executes an enemy you downed, both of you will receive supplies and ammunition from the kill. Molotovs, shivs, flamethrowers, and sometimes nail bombs will instantly kill enemies rather than incapacitating them. The only firearm that will instantly kill an enemy is the military sniper, which will kill any unarmored enemy with a single shot to the head. These are the core mechanics of The Last of Us that players need to master for both the single-player campaign and Factions multiplayer. Learning how to manage your health, craft the right items, utilize listen mode, and knowing when to go for that extra personal execution are key to surviving in The Last of Us. While there are minor differences, these skill sets carry over from campaign to multiplayer and vice versa, so players can practice in the confines of single player before they take the battle for survival online. Thank you for watching this episode of my The Last of Us Factions Survival Guide. Join me next time when we cover the clan metagame of Factions multiplayer. Interrogation is a unique game type that strays from the team deathmatch-based origins of Survivors and Supply Raid. In it, teams of 4 compete to locate and unlock the enemy team's cache of supplies.